Hey there, everyone. It's CJ. Um, it's 12:24 on December 4th, and I'm not falling asleep yet. And I just thought I'd give you guys a quick update on a couple things that are on my mind. First, I'd like to talk about this week's song. I've been focusing a lot on sound design, and we're going to continue that this week. A couple weeks ago was more sort of like an ambient horror sort of sound effects. Then the one that was last week focused on the light series of plugins from Native Instruments. That's Ashlight, Pharlight, and Straylight. That's the other one. Tools that I think are really cool. And I wanted to just talk a little bit about those for fun. So here I have Pharlight. And what this is a sampler. So it has a sample that is in here, and it has two sections. One of them is what's called the grain here, which is doing what's called granular synthesis. This allows you to do some really cool stuff. So for playing this is kind of just going all the way through. But what I can do is I can change where it goes. I can also create this thing called jitter. So now you can see that it's playing at different points of the sound, and if I change the position, it'll start dragging it sort of farther back. If I increase the scan, it increases how much it might go through, and it just creates something really, and a sound that's really interesting, something that I think is very useful and we'll probably start using a lot. One of the things that I'm really looking forward to is using other samples, either from other libraries or from people who make samples. So let's take a look here really quickly. I've dropped a sample in. The sound was already sound designed, and now I'm making something entirely different. And I can really mess around with what's happening with this. It also allows you to mix with a regular sample so that you have a little bit of consistency. So I have this choir that I've used here. This was used in the other song, and it's just kind of neat. But between the two of them, it gives you something a little bit more unpredictable. It's got some movement to it. And when you're dealing with cinematic things, movement is important because sometimes you may not want to change the note for a while. Maybe a scene's going long, or maybe you're really trying to just underscore. Very useful for that. So this week, I'm going to be switching around and going to be playing around with two sets of libraries, all within the Spitfire series. One of them is between two of their Albion series, and then the other one is their Kepler series. So the first library that I'm going to be working with is going to be Albion 5 Tundra, and I'm going to be using the Evo grid from that. The Evos are these sound designed, long evolving sounds that are built from the sounds that they recorded for the orchestra. The ones for Tundra are quiet and tend to be, they're very soft, very Scandinavian film scoring. You can kind of randomize them, which will allow me to find something that I think will fit whatever vibe I'm trying to go for. The other drone grid is going to be from Albion Solstice, which is focusing a lot on folk music. It has a variety of things, strings, woods, but also things like guitars, hurdy-gurdies, and some very spooky vocals. This is going to be a nice one to play with as well. And the library that I'm really excited to play around with is the Kepler series. Kepler is sort of focused on this minimalist idea of repeated notes. More importantly, repeated notes against repeated notes in a different time. So right now, all of these notes, I'm going to set them to these 16th notes, I think. Let's go here. only a little uneven because I played a little sloppily. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add these fifth tuplets, quintuplets. I guess that's what those are. I'm just going to do that every other section. What this is changing where in the keyboard these particular rhythms play. Oh, I've even got one in an even faster thing, but I'm just going to make this nice long ninth chord. So you can hear that there's two rhythms that are going against each other. And I really want to play with that all over the orchestra. And you can see here that I have basses, high brass, low brass, woodwinds. I got a whole bunch of stuff going on here. That's something that I'm really excited to play with this week. Another thing that has been really inspirational this week is I saw Godzilla -1. Most of y'all don't know me. I'm a really big Godzilla fan. And I was blown away by the soundtrack. One song in particular, which is called Divine. I don't know that I can post any of it here, but I recommend that you check it out. I'll link it below. It does an amazing job of giving a sense of scale, doom, and despair. Pay attention if you listen to it, especially to the bell sound that is held. And that I have to imagine that is something that's done in like a DAW or some other sort of sampling program where it's just repeating the bell sound over and over and over again, because bells don't ring that long. And pay attention to what's going on with the strings as well, and sort of the minimalistic motif and the percussion bed that is below it, which is truly something that I want to dive into and figure out how they did and how I can recreate it. Just amazing. And the rest of the soundtrack is amazing as well. There's another one, I think it's called like Resolution, I think is what it is. It's one of the ones that was used in the trailers. And it has a great sort of movement to it. The strings really drive. I just think it's great. The way that the sound and the way that it was recorded is amazing. And that sort of leads me to the last thing that I want to talk about. Just a thing that has been on my mind, which is I don't really know what to do next. There's a part of me that just wants to sort of go and do more of what I've been doing. One shots and sort of exploring things. But there are other things that are exciting me right now. I'm running a Descent into Avernus campaign. And it's really interesting to play a module. I've never actually run a full D&D module. I generally make up my own games. But I wonder how it would be to sort of score that whole game. Because every bit of it has been sort of laid out for you. And I imagine that you could do a really intricate scoring thing and have it be amazing. But I don't know that it would... First of all, I don't know if it would be sustainable. I don't know that I'd be able to keep my interest for that long. And it's just ambitious as hell to sit there and score an entire D&D module. Not just like 5 or 10 songs, but like, having multiple battle themes that, one for when you're on, when you're in Baldur's Gate, and then when you're in Hell Terrell, and then when you're out on the wastes of Avernus and stuff like that. And then to have individual leitmotifs for major characters like Lulu or Zariel or any of those major characters. And then for the places, for the market, and for there's just all these places that can have their own theme. And that's something that's been on my mind a lot. It's like, hey, maybe that's a thing that I'll do. And I might do it just as I go along, right? But I don't know. There's another part of me that's thinking, like, maybe do some character themes. Do something that's like, hey, here's a suite for a single character that's like music that can be played during their important moments. Could be an idea. I've thought about doing that, but I just haven't made it work the way that I've wanted to yet. So I don't know. I don't exactly know what I'm going to do after this. And I might just play it by ear and do whatever strikes me during the week. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. I thought I'd pass it on to you and be like, hey, do you have any things that, based off of what I've been doing, you're like, hey, I'd love to hear this? Or do you have any ideas maybe based off of things? Do you want to hear more of any of the series that I've already done? These are just things that it's nice to get feedback. Feedback is very important for me, because otherwise I'm just unable sometimes to make a good decision. But the second someone holds me to it, it can be very easy to get something done. Anyway, that's my update for this. I guess it's a Monday morning now. Yeah, I guess it's Monday morning. I'll probably release this later on today. I hope that you guys are enjoying the music. I hope that you guys have a great holiday season, and I'm looking forward to hearing your comments and what you think about what's going on. Have a good one.